Everything given by God to you, man, is so beautiful. Marriage is not exceptional. It's a gift to mankind. We are too welcome to figure in marriage we are one. Make Oluwa bless our union so that we can be fruitful. If any be a coming, follow me, the lover of my soul. If Lodu mami ye o, Dakuo ma she fi mi sílẹ̀ lọ.
Hello wonderful viewers, you're welcome back to our channel. My name is Sheyi.
My name is Fumi.
And together we are called Sheyi Fumi. Alright.
Guys, welcome back to another episode of Marriage is Beautiful. Yeah. If you're new here, you're welcome. We love you. This is Marriage is Beautiful with Sheyi Fumi. And if you've been on this channel before, we thank you. Thank you for coming back to watch our videos. God bless you. And if you're new, you've not subscribed, please kindly click on the subscribe button. Don't forget to click on the notification bell as well, so that anytime we upload a new video, you can receive the notification. And if you've been watching our video maybe once in a while, and you're here again and you've not subscribed, how do you know that's what I want to say?
What are you waiting
for? Kindly click on the subscribe button, be part of this family. I'm sure you're going to enjoy at least one of our videos.
If not everything.
If not everything, let me just put it out.
Alright. Today we'll be looking into the issue of third party in marriage. And it's a very important issue. Sometimes we agree that there could be need for somebody to mediate into some of the matters in marriage. We don't rule out the places of counselors. We don't rule out the places of your mentor in marriage. We don't rule out the places of your pastors in marriage. Somebody that is older than you, or somebody you look up to in marriage,
that is well experienced.
That's somebody that has experience. So we don't rule out that there might be need to seek an advice once in a while, to ask for a direction. But we're looking at a scenario where any of the spouse, just because of a little misunderstanding, goes out there, talk about things to friends, to everyone, seeking opinion. Somehow you were looking for somebody to pity you, to be precise, that okay, I want somebody to be on my side in this case. And then you go out there, you start talking about your husband, you start talking about your wife to someone that you don't really know whether that person really likes you or not, whether that person is interested in your marriage being successful or not. And then you go out there, you start explaining things, releasing secrets in your marriage to them. We have seen several cases of that, and today we are looking into what can those things really cause for us. How is it affecting our marriage, and how can we cope the influence of third party in our marriage?
Yeah, for me, no one has the right to be involved in your marriage if you didn't involve them. As far as I'm concerned, if you don't call someone to tell the person that, okay, this is what is happening in my house, this is what is happening in my marriage, I don't see how the person is going to get to know what exactly is happening in your home. Let me tell you, if the person is not involved totally in your marriage, he or she might not even know most of the things that you are talking about, or that even cause this misunderstandings.
Like, if, for an example now, I am the one saying to a friend of mine about you.
Okay. You
are not there. I would definitely want to say something that will make my friend to think I am right person. You are wrong. Yeah, now I want to paint myself an angel and paint you a villain. So in that case, when that person is going to talk into this issue, he already has a prejudice against you based on what I say. So there is no way that he will make a sound judgment, even when you are allowed to voice your own opinion along the line. Already, me being the first person that talked to him, I've already gained a little ground with him. He's going to judge based on that. Remember the person you are.
Are you Nigerian police?
Okay. The first person that gets to the police station is actually the right person. No, even all over the world it happens. In most cases, the first person that actually reports has an edge, no matter how small, over the other person. So right now, the issue remains is, why are you trying to find a pity party in the first place?
And before we go to the issue of pity party, for me, I think if we're going to look at this thing critically, like it happens to me once. I ever did that once, but where I feel like you don't want to take what I was telling you, and I feel like, oh, I'm going to call a friend of yours that I know that you're going to listen to, and I called him, and honestly, that settles the issue. Fine, but since then, it has never happened for the past 10 years I've been in this marriage. And I don't know, it's not going to happen again because, you learn more and you see things more from different, you are enlightened more once you are able to see the light. I don't see the reason why we should, as couple, should even involve third party. Just what I'm trying to say, because you are one. So definitely going to report to you. It's exactly, it's just
you're reporting yourself.
Going to report to, it's just as if I'm reporting myself. And I could remember there was, I think at the early stage of our marriage, you I don't know what happened, but you called my mom and you reported me to my mom.
You are this strong-headed at that time, and I've not learned enough of you. Okay.
And I never called my mom. It was like, oh my goodness, did you just call my mom? You dare not do that again, honey. Please, I was like, it was not my mom that brought us together in the first place. Please, just leave my mom out of this marriage. Let's have this thing answered,
But the truth is, it was a great lesson for both of us.
Yeah, sure.
Because after the whole episode, we sat down together and we asked ourselves, what did mom say that was so special?
Mom?
Nothing. Okay, you were not my binu. You were not my binu.
You were not Agbaluma.
Then she talked to me and said, Baba Eluje, or something like that. And at the end of the day, I asked myself, if that was not said, couldn't we have settled this issue?
Of course. Just little patience.
Yeah. And that's why we said that there is always a tendency for you to try to involve the third party.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, if you look at it critically,
it's not necessary.
Whatever you cannot settle yourself, the third party won't be able to do anything about it. Yeah. I remember this song by Ebenezer Obey. I wouldn't forget that song very easily. It's a Yoruba song. I don't know how to say. Mama Toyin Shikawole. Baba John Debe Konlekun. Oni Mama Toyin Shikawole. Oni Eshi Unwe Pada.
You're not narrating this. I know what you're going to say. You're not narrating it.
Really? See,
people that do know that song,
yes, I'm just trying to say the song.
Okay.
And now, what happened was in the song by Chief Ebenezer Obey, the couple were fighting.
Yeah.
And at a point, I think the woman realized, both of them realized that we shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
And so they locked the door to themselves while they were settling the argument. And then people hearing their voice decided to come and intervene. So somebody knocked the door. Can we come in? What's really happening? Then Mama Toyin, that is Toyin's mother, is the one that is...
That's the wife.
That's the wife. And the wife said, thank you very much. You can go back. We've settled our fight. So in that song, Chief Ebenezer Obey keep repeating that so many other people came. They wanted to intervene. They only hear one word. Thank you very much. You can go back. We've settled our fight. Now the truth of the matter is, you should be able to settle your fight. You don't really need a third party. Let's be realistic with one another.
Exactly.
You don't really. Okay, I have done it at the earlier stage of our marriage. She has done it once also, but we realized that we did.
I think the only thing that is missing, the only thing we need is calmness and that patience. Because if you're able to, because if you're able to apply that patience for 24 hours, let me say at least for 24 hours, you will have no reason to call another person. You will have no reason to call third party. You will have no reason to look for pity party. If you're going to put it on the scale of pity party, maybe you're looking for somebody to pity you, to feel like, oh, something has really happened to you. Like,
you are looking for advice.
Like you just want someone that can hear your side.
Each time you go out there narrating issue for someone, or to someone, what you were looking for is somebody to be on your part.
Yeah, the burden bearer.
Yeah. And nowadays, we don't have burden bearers. We have tail bearers. We don't have burden bearer. I'll repeat that again. We have tail bearer. Somebody you would say something to right now and say, oh, no problem. It's a secret, to keep it a secret. He has a friend who has a friend who has a friend who has a friend who has a... I remember another thing while we were growing up. We have a story in one of our books then about a man called Mr. Alade. Okay, his friend has a small horn on his head and he's always putting a cap. So this friend now decided that I need to keep this secret with a friend of mine. No, his friend said, why are you always having this cap everywhere you go? He now called his friend into the corner and said, listen, I have this secret. One of the reasons why I don't remove this cap is right in the middle of my head is a small horn. How do you say that a man has a horn in his head? So that's why I'm always putting the cap. The man is a trustworthy person. He didn't want to tell anybody. Actually, he didn't tell anybody. But at a point, the thing got a little bit of a bear. It become a burden to him.
Shock him.
And it becomes shocking to him. Yeah. And there is nothing he can do. So he decided that instead of me telling anybody, I'll go into the bush. And then, you know what he did? He spoke to the ground. Alade Uwo, meaning Alade has a horn on his head. Oh. And then he felt relieved that after all, I've spoken out, but to no one. From the spot where he spoke, grew a pawpaw tree. And you know, the pawpaw tree has this long tube-like branches that we used to make flute then, the local flute. And when the children pick this flute-like object and they turn it to flute and they start blowing it, the flute starts singing a song, Alade Uwo, Alade Uwo, meaning Alade has a horn on his head. So in no time, the whole village get to know that Alade is having a horn on his head. Now he got angry. Now look at it. The friend is a very good friend. He didn't tell anybody. Even when the thing got shocking to him, he spoke to the ground. That's why you have to be careful of the word that you speak. Because whichever word you speak in life,
it's going to come up, it's going to germinate.
It's germinating. It's growing. It is coming back.
Seed.
It's a seed. There is no way every word that is uttered remain in the atmosphere, one way or the other. And that's why Yoruba will say ogirileti, one way or the other, that the word has air. One way or the other, this word will still come back, sometimes to haunt you. So ask yourself before you tell your friend, that friend you are speaking to, how are you sure that that friend can keep that secret? How are you sure that friend really likes you? How are you sure that friend is not jealous of your marriage? That he or she is not feeling that I should be the one to have this wonderful marriage. And you go ahead. You utter all the secrets. A wise man should always bridle his tongue. You don't need pity party. You don't need anybody to take your side in issues of your marriage. Your marriage belongs to you and you alone. The best manager in the whole world that can manage your marriage is you.
Yeah, well, one of the baby men that they always want to talk to their mother about their marriage. I want to talk to their dad about their marriage.
Or the baby woman that wants to always talk to his dad, to her dad rather.
Her dad or her mom about her marriage, you know, like what do you do? What do we do in that situation? You know, that's one thing I've never had, because I don't even see me calling my parents to say this is what happened in my marriage, because they will not even listen to you. Like, you know, is it my dad I'm going to call?
I am a champion. You know,
is it my dad I'm going to call?
I'm always right with that.
Just look at you like
that gentleman.
Which gentleman?
That calm man.
You?
Yeah. You know, Daddy has always been saying I'm calm. You know, sometimes Daddy will tell me that
wait, you know what? The only thing is that Daddy is not the type that talks. Daddy, even if you call Daddy, you want to talk to him, you want to speak with him maybe like 10 minutes.
You know Daddy knows that I'm safe, and he always.
It's not because he knows that I'm mature to handle you.
You see, she won't agree. She won't agree. But if one of these days we can bring Daddy here, Daddy.
My mom that will say, Sheyi only shake is for me.
No, mommy, mommy is 100% on Sheyi's side. Even Daddy doesn't talk much once in a while, but mommy, No, you dare not go. That was why I called that.
You know what? I mean, if I report it to my dad, he's not going to be on your side. Daddy knows that I'm not going to.
You try. You won't even.
I'm not going to report to. That's just it. It's just now, that will report me to my mom. My mom will always say,
and it's only that will report me to my friends.
It's you. It's once now.
It's my own. No, it's once. Yeah, it's once. It's once. Not more than once. It's once. Anyway, that shows you one thing, that in every stage of your marriage, there are times before you really get into that maturity. There are people you can talk to.
And there are issues. It's not every issue.
Why are we saying this? Just to tell you, no marriage is completely perfect.
Sure.
There are situations you need to know that when you get into this level. For example, I always say this: whoever is asking or talking to someone, asking for an opinion, already have an opinion by himself or herself. He's just looking for an opinion of somebody that will align with his own opinion. And when that happens, you will say, wow, you give me a good advice. If you dare tell him or her something contrary to what he or she wants to believe, your opinion is good for nothing, it will be thrown away. So everybody that is even coming out to talk to you already have something in their mind. And beware for you, men and women out there who are the mediator, who always like to take sides. You are always taking sides. You want to. It has happened to me before. Yes, in my days of mentoring people, I have gone beyond my boundary. I'll put it that way. In trying to enforce something on the husband against the wife, they eventually settle and I become the villain. So for you, who is always taking sides?
It's just they are just. What I want to say is this: because the guy was not really mature.
Yes, I know he wasn't really mature.
You can't be beating your wife, and you don't want us to tell you the truth. Have you ever seen us doing that?
I did, but eventually the wife maybe
later clicked.
Maybe something was bought.
And it was the wife that shouted, "Please,
and I got so hungry, you know.
Like, this is my mentee.
This is my mentee, and I went into the place talk until I was addressed in a manner that made me.
Aside and they become.
But eventually, what I was trying to tell him happened. They beat themselves up to the level of separation, by the way. But that is not the case right now. The case remains this. Listen, don't be the mediator that always takes side. By the time husband and wife will go into the corner of the room to settle the matter, especially during the time of flight to Jerusalem, you will be the center of discussion. During the chemistry, when everybody gets bonded, you will be the center of discussion. So don't fool yourself by thinking that I can take side. Don't take side. You know, balance it. A man of God said something. He said, your objection towards any marriage should be before the whole marriage. Or at worst, the day they were about to be joined. That's why they asked if you have an objection. The moment they get married, your objection is null and void.
Like Pastor said something sometimes ago. He said, oh, I'm not going to beat your husband for you. Yes. I'm not going to beat your wife for you. Yes. There's some husband that gets just angry anyhow, and you know, by the time you look your mouth.
No, we don't call those people husband, we call them husband.
Okay.
When you have an husband.
By the time that you kick your mouth with one blow, you come to him, you report. He's not going to tell your husband, oh, you are not doing right. And you're not going to help the Holy Spirit to come and beat your husband. What you're going to do is that, oh, sorry. Take this vapor, go and rub it on your mouth. I think
there's a scenario.
Yes.
There's a scenario somebody was discussing. They said, because your husband is born again, I will say this, doesn't mean
that you're not going to get angry.
That he can't get angry. He may have left Egypt long time ago, but don't send him back to Egypt with your tongue. Because you say, hey, come and beat me. Is that how your mate is doing? Hey, you dare it, and you call yourself a leader, and you say, be careful. Before you realize it, one will land in your face. Two, before senses will come back to him that I am a leader truly. And that's why, that's why I will say this. I don't advocate violence in marriage, but please, ma, I'll put it this way. Please, ma, don't push him to the level don't orchestrate something that you cannot manage. Don't push him to the level that he will lose it all. Because even no matter how anointed you are. We said last week, you are not anointed beyond temptation. The only thing is temptation will come, but God has a way of delivering you. Don't allow temptation to set in. And that's why we will say, for women out there only, who will always go out and report your husband to your friend. I want to talk. No, let me start with that.
With women.
I want to say that today. Listen, you are telling your friend that his husband is beating, sometimes even in the corner of the room, but he's coming out putting powder, telling you everything is fine. You are telling your friend whose husband is not giving him 500 riyal, for an example, for to make soup with, and your husband is giving you 500. You are telling him and say, oh, is that what he's giving you? I am taking 1,000 Qatar riyal. Even yesterday, when Ade wanted to give me 1,000, when James wanted to give me 1,000, when Tolu wanted to give me 1,000, he knelt down to give me 1,000. And I was like, "Duh, is that what you can give?" He said, "Oh, so I'm sorry, only manage this." Listen, she got 200 riyal. You are getting 500, and you are explaining to her.
And you are expecting her to sign.
You are expecting her. She will deceive you to leave him, and if you are not careful, you will come back to that marriage when your eyes open and you will find her sitting in your husband's house. It has happened. It will still happen. Don't be deceived. Be contented with what you have.
Appreciate what
what God has given to you. Oh, your husband is not as handsome. You saw him before you married him. Your wife is not that very beautiful now.
Everybody is beautiful in their way.
Let me just, you are saying to yourself, oh, she's not that figure eight you marry. Manage what you have. It is not time.
Not manage. Enjoy what you have.
Enjoy what you have. Thank you. Enjoy what you have. It is not the time for you to start talking to every top dig and Harry that comes across your path. Listen attentively. Your marriage is sacred. Your marriage is personal. Treat it personally. Let it be personally. That's what you know. Personally. Treat your marriage personally. It's not everything that happens in your marriage you open your mouth wide and say outside.
Respect your marriage.
Respect your marriage. Respect your wife. Respect your husband.
I know people will be like, what brings about this? We decided to have this video because we know that such things are happening everywhere, day in, day out. And when we prayed about it, we were led to have this section, and we decided to shoot today and discuss it because we prayed about it that God will minister to people through this video, and we are praying for all the couples out there.
For anyone going through,
please kindly keep praying for us too. We need your prayers, you know. So if we can start it earlier, like we're going to attend to the family, we're going to discuss our personal issues, we're going to have our, you know, rethinking, you know, to make our marriage works. Then the church will work.
Everywhere we listen to.
Christianity will be better.
Point.
I think we've discussed a lot. In conclusion, guys, I want to tell you that want to tell you that the best thing ever to do is to be matured enough to sit together and trash issues out. To sit together and settle issue one-on-one. Let me tell you, no one started it with you. You know, God is the basis for every marriage, and we should always return to Him. In anything, you know, there are misunderstandings. So your husband misunderstands you, go back to Him. Your wife misunderstands you, go back to Him. You know, go back to Him. He's the basis of everything. Don't let us get to a stage where we feel like, oh, God is no more here. Then we can.
God is always here.
God is always here. God is always here. God is always in your marriage, and He's going to take control of everything. Only what you have to say.
So we want to say this. Please, third parties are never welcome in marriage. Maybe like us, once or twice, you've done. There are still people that you take advice from.
Yeah, sure.
There are still older couple you seek counsel from. There are still marriage counselors that can help you. Your pastors are still there to be able to mediate. But get to the level of maturity. The truth is, if everyone goes to the pastor, who does the pastor also goes to? Sometimes he asks you, because he can't come to you. You will look at it and say,
like what you just said now. When I was still very young, like my dad, I used to go to him each time. My dad, I was like, Dad, I have headache today. Tomorrow, Dad, I have headache. And usually, I don't know why this headache usually comes. And he knows this time. There was a day he knows that this girl is growing. This girl is growing. By now, she's supposed to. I told you before. And when I said,
oh, you know what?
Darling, did you know I'm having headaches too? But there's nobody I can talk to. You know, I feel so bored at that day. I was like, so my dad used to have headache. So
I'm also putting my own.
He was like, I can't come and talk to you about my headache, my own headache. You know, I'm just praying to God. So pray to God too.
So, in conclusion, please understand this: your marriage is a personal thing to you. You don't need to go from Peter to Paul, from Paul to Paul, looking for pity party, asking people to support you. Support you against who? Against your husband or against your wife who is part of you? Listen.
Who is you?
Grow up.
You, me, I'm you. Me, you, you.
You, me, me, you. I am you, you are me. So where do we go to? So let us all grow up. Our marriage is a personal thing to us. Whenever you have an issue, settle the matter. And when you finish settling it, take a flight to Jerusalem. That's my watchword for the next few weeks. When you finish settling it, take a flight to Jerusalem. By the time you come back, you won't even remember it.
Take a flight to Jerusalem.
We are the solution.
We don't need third parties.
We can settle our cases
ourselves.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Until next week,
yep,
when we'll come across your way again. Sheifumi is saying,
thank you.
We love you. Bye.